Okay, so I'm going to start this out with sharing my screen. And again, if you want to ask a question, feel free to, just ask. It's simple, right? So we're talking today about oils and babies. And I'm really excited you guys are here and you want to dive deeper into the world of essential oils. And it's kind of like no matter how deep we are in it, there's always so much more to learn. And there's so much that hasn't even affected us yet. Like I didn't use essential oils with my babies because I'm too old. I didn't know about essential oils when my kids were young, 20 something years ago. And now I've learned about them. And when I'm someday a grandparent, I'll be able to use the knowledge that I'm gaining through learning about essential oils now. One thing we do know about essential oils is that health fads come and go, but essential oils have really been used reliably and extensively in medicine for thousands of years. I mean, you just go back to the Bible and you can see that it was used during that time and even before then in various cultures. So today we want to really learn about the best oil and the methods that you can use in your home to keep your baby happy and healthy. So the first thing we want to address, I wanted to just make sure it gets to the next slide. My thing's being kind of slow. So did it go to the next slide? Yeah, it did. Okay. So the first thing we want to address is really the sensitivities that babies have in comparison to us. We're big adults and babies are going to be different than us. And they're going to have they have a different system and they're going to be more sensitive. So basically they have a more developing immune system, right? They have smaller bodies. They're more sensitive skin. And their livers can only process so much at a time. So keep that information in mind and always test patch. So to perform a test patch with essential oils, apply a small, no larger than a dime amount of diluted essential oil to a baby's leg or arm and wait for 24 hours to see if there's a reaction. If no reaction occurs, then it's likely, safely you can move forward with application in the future. Common irritating oils that should be saved until children are older unless there's a very specific need for it would be things like the hot oils, cassia, cinnamon, oregano, peppermint, and anything that's got a really high menthol base. Maybe we're thinking maybe wintergreen, something like that. You want to be careful with those oils with very young children. And again, you'll learn more as you learn more about essential oils, and that will help you be more confident using them going forward. You don't want to find out that your child is sensitive to an essential oil when you need to use it. So let's say you haven't never tested lavender on your child, and then all of a sudden your baby, and I had this happen, my toddler came toddling into the kitchen right as I opened the oven door. She fell onto the oven door, which was at 350 degrees, and burned both palms as she just palmed right onto the door. That was awful. Knowing what we know about lavender, I would then put lavender on there immediately, but I don't want that to be when I find out that she doesn't do well with lavender, do I? I want to have tested that and to know that lavender is a good choice for her. So you do want to introduce oils to your babies, and you do want to introduce them one at a time. So when we have, it just defaulted back to the first one. There we go. My video's being weird. Okay, so one at a time, and that would be, avoiding the blends at first. Let's go with the single oils, testing each oil on its own. Do test patch if you feel like it's necessary. I probably wouldn't do a test patch, but I would be very careful with dilution. But some parents do want to do a test patch because sometimes we have really sensitive children to certain things, and a lot of times they'll outgrow the sensitivities, but we do want to be aware of what their little bodies can handle when they're young, right? So one thing to remember is one at a time. Okay, let's go back to it. So what do we know about oils? Dilute, dilute, dilute. When we are dealing with babies, we want heavy dilution. Most adults can handle a few drops of pure essential oil on the skin. Your little ones aren't equipped the same way we are. So when you apply oil to the skin, you always, always, always dilute. Typically, we really should be diluting on our own bodies as well to get better absorption anyway. But with children, so much more important, same thing with pets, right? So for dilution ratios, for children under the age of 2, it is 1 drop of oil, 2 teaspoons of carrier oil. For children above the age of 2, 2 drops of oil or 2 teaspoons of carrier oil. And go easy on the dropper when you're diffusing oils as well. So if somebody walks into a room and that fragrance is really noticeable to them, and they're not just saying, oh, I smell something kind of nice or whatever, but they can tell you and they're saying, wow, I smell something really strong here, then it's probably too strong for your baby too. And be very careful when you have children who have like asthma and stuff like that. We know that essential oils are fine for people with asthma. In fact, they can be very beneficial, but they do need to have a lower ratio. They do need to have it more diluted. So be careful as you're introducing oils. And if anybody's used oils for a while, you probably have realized, I know I have, that the more I use an oil, the more familiar my body gets with it, the more I tolerate. Have you seen the same thing, Barbara? Do you notice the same thing? You're muted. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, my cat was crying. I didn't want to disturb you. So
Okay, that's okay.
yes, I find I get, sometimes it's a little strong, and then when I use an oil later on, it's not as bad.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we kind of develop that kind of, our bodies must get used to it, because I experienced it myself with the Slim and Sassy. So the first time I used Slim and Sassy, you know what we always say for adults, 3 drops in a glass of water. So I did that. Oh my gosh, that stuff is so strong. And so I backed up and I said, you know what? That's just too strong for me. I'm not gonna drink it. It's just weird, right? And I had to back up and start doing 1 drop. And then I did work my way back up to 3 drops. But it took me time because I'm not used to them.
It was like that with the LLV too. I started off with 4, and that, you know, and oh boy. So then I backed off. I did 1 every day for a week, and then I went to 2 the next week and 3 the next week, like that.
Yep. And that's your body has to get used to these. You know, they are making changes in your body. They are affecting you, because these are, you know, scientifically proven to have an effect on the human body, which means it only makes sense that we're going to have different issues depending how strong they are. And you need to start weaker rather than stronger, and especially with babies, because they're a lot smaller. And you kind of got to remember, you know, if we're taking 1 to 3 drops for a healthy adult of an oil, then for a baby who is 1/6 or 1/7, 1/8 your size in weight, that's a big difference, right? So I wanted to give you the dilution chart. I got this from Dr. Eric Zielinski. I do a lot of research with, you know, through him, because he has wonderful information. And here's kind of a rule of thumb for dilution. And again, remembering, so you can screenshot that if you want or whatever, but remembering also that however much carrier oil you're putting on your baby is going to determine how much essential oil gets into their skin. So if you are using a high dilution and you're putting a very small amount of oil into a lot of carrier oil, but then you're only applying 1 drop of that oil blend to your baby's getting like 1, whatever the dilution is. So they might be getting 1/30th of a drop, which might not be enough. So you do want to keep that in mind, depending how you're using it. When you're using an oil all over their tummy, so let's say we're using Digest-N or Zengest on a colicky, or, you know, a baby with an upset stomach or something like that, then we're going to be putting it all over their tummy. Then we're going to want to dilute it a lot and let it spread around, right? Because we're spreading it all over their tummies. So there's a good dilution chart for you. Now, be careful when you're choosing products. So lots of baby products, and nowadays, obviously, include essential oils. I'm sure we've all seen it. And that may seem like that product is more natural because it's got essential oils, so it must be natural and safe, right? But there's really no way to ensure the quality of the oil. I mean, we know if it's a doTERRA product, we know the quality of the oil. But a lot of products don't tell you where that oil came from. We don't know what essential oil it is. It just says lavender essential oil. Okay, lavender. Sounds good, right? But you don't know if it's synthetic lavender essential oil, because who knows what company it came from. A lot of companies make synthetic lavender essential oil. So we don't know what is actually in that product. So you have to be really careful when you're buying those products. And most store-bought oils will have solvents, so pesticides, synthetics, other chemicals, and you won't really be able to tell by looking at the label. And that's unfortunate that it's not more detailed. And no oils on the market are more thoroughly tested to be pure and safe than doTERRA. So, you know, if you're putting something on your baby, you want to make sure it's a really, really pure product. And as a rule of thumb, stick to those unscented baby products. Add your own doTERRA essential oils once you know that they're safe for baby. So if you're going to use something on your baby, get something completely unscented. And as another kind of aside on this, you may not realize this, unscented means they've added an additional chemical to get rid of the original scent. A lot of people don't know this. You actually want scent-free. Scent-free means that scent was not added to begin with. Unscented means they covered up the scent so it would not have a smell to you. So you do want scent-free, you know, pure products for your baby. Now we want to figure out how we're going to put those oils on our baby, right? So to assure we don't get too kind of heavy-handed with essential oils around our little ones, let's stick to adding a few drops to a bottle of water to spritz around the room, or even adding a few drops to a water-based diffuser, like we all use, right? Like you're running right now, Barbara. Avoid spritzing pillows. That'll make sure that your baby doesn't ingest any oil. And carrier oils to mix with the essential oils would include vegetable oil, coconut oil, jojoba oil, almond oil. I like that one a lot. And use that dilution from that dilution chart that I showed you. So I have to pause as I go to the next slide. I'm trying to, sorry about that. Okay, you want to keep all oils out of the reach of the children at all times. No matter how pure they are, they're still not meant to be handled by very, very young children. Do not let your child of any age ingest pure oil. If they ingest a pure oil, they can do a lot of damage. They can really hurt themselves. It's not likely that a small amount of oil is going to do major harm. And it's really, really unbelievably rare for a child to drink enough to actually be harmed, but is not a comfortable feeling. We've done it. For those of us who have stuck a pure essential oil in our mouths as adults, remember what it feels like when you took one of those hot oils and you put it directly in your mouth. You definitely don't want to put a baby through that kind of pain, right? So make sure they can't get a hold of your oils. Always dilute them. If you do need to give essential oils to a baby internally, make sure that you put them in an oil-soluble liquid, like milk or half and half. And you can give that to them if they ingest something by accident too, to get rid of that. But you can also give them oils in these in this kind of carrier if you do need to administer oils orally. We hesitate to have babies ingest essential oils unless they're under the care of a doctor, because you do want to be really careful, and you don't want to let your kids ingest oils at a very young age. Don't put oils in and around your baby's nose. Makes common sense again. And use only gentle oils, well diluted, on the face if you do need things on the face. So if you are using like a lavender oil to help with, a lot of babies will get little cuts around the face. They might scratch themselves with those little fingernails they get, right? Or they might have some like cradle cap or skin disorders or something like that. And we would use lavender oil, but make sure they are well diluted. And again, don't just take an oil for the first time and go rubbing it all over your baby. You do want to make sure that they tolerate the oil well before you start using it on a large surface, right? So be very careful with that. Storing your oils safely. Again, keep your oils in a very safe place so that they cannot access your oils. Obviously, we've all seen how these oils come. They have an orifice reducer. That's going to make it super hard for anybody to ingest a whole bunch of oil, because we've all seen how slow that makes the oils come out, right? So it is going to be really hard for them to get a hold of any large amount, certainly not enough to do any serious damage. I see that I have a question, so I'm going to go look at my chat real quickly. Okay. Drop of lemon oil on the baby's bottle of water in, you mean, I assume. So yes, you can put a drop of lemon oil in the baby's bottle of water to drink. I will make a caution here. When you first add an essential oil to a liquid like water, where it isn't soluble, right? When you first add it, it actually sits on the top of the liquid. And if you were to put it in the water and then you didn't shake it up and give it some time to get immersed into the water, it will be very, very strong, and that can be a little bit caustic on their lips or tongue. So be careful when you're doing that to make sure that you shake that liquid up before you give it to the baby. Okay, we're gonna discuss some of the oils too, to use with babies. So these, some of these we've used with us, these are also obviously applicable to adults, but these are some issues that we typically associate with babies. And if we're using the same thing for ourselves, we'll use just larger amounts, right? So Roman chamomile is a really gentle essential oil that's really beneficial for babies who have trouble falling asleep, if they have trouble staying asleep, or if they're suffering from colic, of course. Chamomile, Roman chamomile, can also be mixed with a carrier oil if you massage along the baby's jawline to help soothe pain from teething. And if you guys haven't used it yourself, Roman chamomile is one of my go-tos for sleeping as well. My husband and I use it in our diffuser. It really seems to make a difference for him. He has trouble staying asleep. I don't know if it helps me that much. I don't use it by itself. I use it with violet orange, which is better at helping me fall asleep. But we do notice on nights when I don't diffuse Roman chamomile, he does not get a good night's sleep. And he's really grumpy the next day. So I have to try to remember to do that. I didn't start my diffuser last night. And I was up until like 2 a.m. and I was just too tired to get up and put my diffuser stuff together. So unfortunately, we paid the price for it. He didn't sleep well. I didn't fall asleep well. I slept in great, but it was like 4 hours of Andy Griffith last night, just trying to fall asleep. So kind of wasted my time, right? So calming chamomile, definitely one of the ones you want to consider for babies, and a soothing, very gentle oil. Lavender oil, this is a very commonly used one for with children. You do need to make sure that your child tolerates lavender before you start using it on their bodies, because lavender is fairly strong, really. It needs to be in a carrier oil, and again, test it first on your child. But it has an amazing amount of uses. I use it with my pets even, and we use it around the house. We use it for cuts and scrapes and burns and bug bites, and oh my gosh, there's just so many things, as well as the fact that it is very calming. really kind of a natural sedative. And when you say it like that, it's kind of like, it's not going to like knock you out. It's not that kind of sedative. It's just got that kind of sedating properties that will make you tired. So if you are diffusing lavender and you sit down in your chair, your easy chair, and it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're watching some TV, yeah, that lavender might kind of make you doze a little bit, right? We've probably all done that too. It helps with relaxation, it helps with sleep, and it helps alleviate muscle discomfort. So use it the same way you would chamomile. You can massage it onto the sore jaw lines. It's also a natural antiseptic, so it's good to dilute and dab on, like I said, insect bites, sunburns, cuts and scrapes and things. And you'll get a lot of those with young babies because they do tend to scratch themselves with their nails. And I remember like when my son, he got sunburned, we went somewhere, and he was about 6 months old and got a really, really bad sunburn. I felt so bad. But I didn't protect it better, and I wish I'd known about the lavender then. So that's where, you know, they come back with the sunburn, and there you go, get out your lavender. Make sure it's diluted, and go ahead and get that all over their bodies, and then make sure you keep reapplying, because remember, the basic core thing about essential oils is they metabolize completely in about 2 hours or so. So you do want to keep reapplying if you're trying to solve a problem. Also really good to add to cleaning products that you use around the house. Lavender is a really good one for adding to our cleaning products, and I think a lot of people do that. So another oil that we're very familiar with and use for our babies a lot is our melaleuca, or now what we call it tea tree oil. So tea tree oil is a, this kind of our standby oil. Most people have heard of it. Many may actually have it on hand already. And this oil is naturally antimicrobial, antifungal, and a disinfectant. So adding a few drops to a carrier oil may help with things like diaper rash, maybe fungal infections, things like that, right? And any of these oils, because I like disinfectant type oils because I'll add them to like a diaper pail, or right now I use them in my trash can. I'll take a few drops of oils, put in my trash can, because otherwise that trash can can really smell horrible, right? And I'll add oils to that. But you can use this a lot with babies and in their environment. Another kind of powerhouse oil that I think we all like is what we call the king of oils. I love this little crown on the baby. It's just an adorable picture. I really like what they did here. But that is designed to help boost babies' immunity. And frankincense, we heard a lot about in the Bible, right? Baby Jesus got to benefit from frankincense because it is immune boosting. And we want our babies to have, to build their immune systems, build a strong immune system. And this oil helps promote a healthy inflammatory response. It's great to use once your baby starts rolling and crawling around the house. To keep their immune system high, they're going to start being exposed to a lot of different things. So let's keep them healthy with something simple like frankincense. Fairly mild oil. Make sure it's diluted because it can be strong in some areas if it's not diluted properly. It can be used a lot of different places. Frankincense is one. Like if I had something like cradle cap is a big one, because I think a lot of babies get that. But when you have cradle cap, frankincense and lavender together is a wonderful way to get that under control. So think about using some of those. And lemon we use a lot for a lot of different things. We do definitely use it a lot with babies. It will help keep your baby healthy and energized while excess germs are kind of floating around, right? Typically mix a drop of lemon oil with a carrier and rub it on the baby's chest. You can also use it as a fresh diffuser scent, because that's one we do tend to diffuse a lot around babies and children. And like somebody here had already asked about, putting a drop maybe in their water is something that you can do. I wouldn't do it with an infant. We're maybe talking about kind of the toddler age, where you might want to start adding some lemon oil. But then ask yourself why you're adding the oil. And we don't need to use essential oils for babies unless there's a need to use them, except for its immune boosting properties. Now, we do know that lemon, lavender, and peppermint do have immune boosting properties. And so that is something that you can start getting your children used to at a very young age. But again, you don't need much because they are very, very tiny compared to us. So don't be tempted to use too much. Another oil that is really great for babies, and probably, I think this would be probably a very versatile oil, and probably used by most parents, because all parents probably dealt with this. We got that child and they got a tummy ache. I mean, who had a child that never had a tummy ache, right? So upset stomach, even constipation, even with us, but with babies too, excess gassiness, you want to use a little bit of ginger oil. Ginger is a known digestive aid. It has soothing and calming aroma that's really great for diffusing or massaging into the belly with a carrier oil. Us as adults, a lot of times we'll use it internally. And if you have a baby that has a serious internal digestion issue, check with your doctor. They may actually recommend you to give them just a tiny bit of ginger oil internally as well, because those are some other options. And check with your doctor on that if they feel that is appropriate for your child. Another oil, there it is, okay. Another oil that sounds beautiful, right? Jasmine. So what do we do with jasmine with children? Soft and floral, jasmine can really help calm those temper tantrums that children have, starting at a very young age sometimes, right? And it aids in kind of winding down before a nap or after a long day. You have to remember what the baby's feeling and thinking as the day goes on. And babies are they're very perceptive. And what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like if a baby gets too stimulated, that can cause them to get fussy. If they don't get enough sleep, of course they get fussy. We all get fussy without enough sleep. We just show it a little bit different than babies do, right? So jasmine, like Jasmine Touch, which is pre-diluted, and we have, makes the application to babies' feet or pulse points very easy. And you can use that to help calm down babies, getting them winding down before their nap or at the end of the day. And you can mix this with lavender oil for a really good blend. Now, something else that I think are hearing a lot about in recent, I don't know, probably the last couple of decades, we've heard more and more about baby massage, right? So all these oils we've talked about can be used in a massage. Obviously on their tummy is a very common one, but you can massage them anywhere on baby's body. And studies have shown that regular massages for baby can actually improve the weight gain in preterm infants. It encourages development, it decreases irritability, and it helps with sleep disturbances. And me as an adult, yeah, if somebody were to massage me every day, I think that would help with all those things for me too. So just like massages for adults, those massages for babies can really help stimulate that central nervous system and release those kind of feel-good hormones like serotonin. Oils aren't necessary to massage a baby, but they do make the process easier by allowing the caregiver's hands to glide more easily over the skin. And that would be your carrier oils, obviously. And if your baby's under 3 months, avoid using essential oils in your massages unless they're needed for a specific purpose. Once they're 3 months old, then you start adding the oils again, highly diluted in their massages. If they're old enough, just add a drop or two to a carrier oil, and you can do a gentle yet firm massage on the belly, the back, arms, legs, and again, lavender's a top choice for that generally with babies. Then we have our warm woody oils like Balance. So the warm woody aroma of Balance, this is our grounding blend. It creates a sense of calm and well-being. This is one we typically will diffuse. It is a really great blend of spruce, whole wood, frankincense, blue tansy, and blue chamomile with fractionated coconut oil. And that is a really nice fragrance that is designed to promote tranquility, relaxation. Now, spruce is one of the oils in doTERRA Balance, and that was used by Native Americans for health and spiritual reasons, and still used even today to bring harmony to the mind and body. Whole wood, blue tansy, and blue chamomile are really good for anxious feelings, while frankincense is kind of a grounding, balancing effect on your emotions. So Balance is really great for diffusing. It's mild enough to be safely applied to the bottom of your baby's feet. So give that one a try. I don't know. I assume everybody's been in doTERRA long enough, always remembers to eventually try Balance. I've tried Balance. I think it's really good. I think it's very hormonally balancing, which we need at any age. It does have a nice, I think it has a nice smell. I think most people have also reported that they like the smell of the Balance, which is good because it is highly recommended.
That is great for as an adult. On the bottom of your feet, straight. Oh, that's good stuff. In the morning before work. Oh, that's great.
Yep. Yeah, well, balancing our hormones and getting ourselves more grounded is really what we're trying to do always. And essential oils are just a great kind of easy way to do that, right? Because our lives are hectic. We have responsibilities. We have things we have to do every day. I mean, is there ever a day where you don't have to get something done? There's always something to do, right? You've got work, you've got laundry, you've got to clean your house, you've got to take care of others. We are very busy people. And so we need to start our day grounded and balanced. We don't want to start our day feeling sluggish. We don't want to start our day feeling spastic, right? I mean, there's lots of different things you can wake up. We all wake up in the morning and you feel something when you wake up, right? Sometimes you feel like it's a nice slow transition. You're waking up and you feel good. Other times you wake up and you feel like, boy, this is not going to be a good day. I feel just blah. I don't feel like doing anything today. Other days you wake up and you're just go, go, go. And you want to balance that so that you can go through your day more comfortably and not overdo it or underdo it or feel lousy, right? So we do have like the Touch collection. So the Touch collection was something was really nice when they developed all these roller balls for us, because a lot of us were making our own, right? We were making our own Touch blends because we knew that we wanted them diluted. But then to make it easier, so you don't have to do your own, you can get to the Touch collection, which comes pre-diluted with the fractionated coconut oil. And that makes it really great for use with your child's naturally sensitive skin. So we do recommend these Touch roller balls whenever we're using them with children. And a lot of us as adults also like the Touch because, again, the carrier oil helps drive it in better. So we want to dilute them because we want them on our skin. So anytime you're using an oil on your skin, it's great to have them in those roller balls. You can make your own, of course. It's cheaper to make your own, but they are available pre-made for you to use with your children if you'd like, especially if you're new to essential oils. So lavender, frankincense, tea tree, jasmine, breathe, and Digest and Touch, which is also called Zengest, put them in a drawer for easy access with your babies, because those are some of the ones you're going to be using a lot with your little one. So make sure that they are somewhere close by for you to use regularly. And those touch blends, yeah, it was really nice when they added those, because they didn't always have them. So it was really nice to have those. Now, there's obviously, and we're all getting ready for this, how many people are recognizing that it is bug season? Yay, bugs are up, right? Spring's coming, summer's coming, we're all getting our bugs. Okay, and there's nothing worse than a bug bite at any age. I mean, babies don't like them, we don't like them. Who likes a bug bite? So we want to protect our baby with the protection that they need, keep the insects from chewing on our little ones. And we can do that with a DIY bug spray using witch hazel. It's like a 1/4 cup of witch hazel, alcohol-free, preferably natural or organic. 10 drops of lavender oil, 10 drops of citronella oil, and a teaspoon of either vodka or rubbing alcohol, and a 1/4 cup of boiled water. And then mix all that together, fill it into 1 or more spray bottles. Maybe something, you want to go with the dark glass when you're doing stuff like that, because that protects the blends that you've made, so they'll last longer. So you can get dark glass, amber, blue. I've seen some other colors too. Shake it well before use and apply onto your clothing, not your skin. So you do want, this should be applied onto your clothing ideally. You don't want to have this all over your skin, but you can safely put it on your clothes. And I don't know if you had a chance to try the citronella yet, Barbara?
No.
Not yet? Oh, okay.
I
You've been using it for bugs.
I use Terra Shield.
Okay, yeah. And
bugs.
Yeah, we just started using that. I was just notified by my vet when I took my dog in that he's just starting to get some fleas. And so we started using the Terra Shield as well. I like that spray.
Can you take that one?
Terra Shield, nice.
Can you take the citronella internally? I don't even know. I don't remember.
I don't think so. Where is it? I don't remember. I wouldn't think so, because based on what it is, I wouldn't think you can. And it'll say on the bottle, but I don't even know what you'd use it for internally, honestly, Barbara. I mean,
my room is ripped apart right now. I can't find anything.
Yeah,
working
just
on the house.
putting it, putting it on the dog's fur and stuff like that, which is what I've been doing to keep the bugs away. You can do it in combination, as an excess with Terra Shield. Citronella, of course, we know is really good for flies. It's also really good for fleas. Those are 2 of the really, really great things about that. I don't know any reason you'd ever want to take citronella internally anyway. And I seriously doubt it's an internal use oil. And I've never heard how you would use it internally. So I'm gonna guess no, but it'll say on the bottle. So
I'll look on the bottle. Like I said, my room here is we're working on the house, and my stuff is everywhere. I can't find anything at this point.
Yeah, and then researching it to make sure that it's safe to use, because I know you have cats, to make sure that it's something that's safe to use it around cats, and in what dose you would use it around cats. Remembering cats have a more delicate system, much like babies. You want to diffuse at a lower, you want to have less oil in your diffuser. It shouldn't be as strong when you're around cats, generally. And then let's see, where was I? You're talking about citronella. Okay, so we're done with the citronella. Yeah, we want to get that bug spray out. So some of the other DIYs we have. So we love DIYs because they save us money as parents, and then we know what's in our products. That's probably the main thing about DIYs. It's nice to know what is in your products. So some of the, obviously diaper creams can include ingredients that can really irritate baby skin. In fact, I don't know if you've all seen it, but on TV lately, I'm seeing a ton of commercials where they're suing Johnson & Johnson, I believe, for one of the products they use for a diaper cream or diaper rash type stuff. And we see that a lot because they knew that there was something in there that they shouldn't have in there. That's why they're being sued in the first place. And we see it all the time, usually 30, 40, 50 years after we used it, which means we've, a lot of people have used it and suffered some ill effects from it, to different degrees. And so what do you want to do to prevent that? Make your own stuff, the stuff you can pronounce, stuff you can actually use. So we have recipes. I've got a recipe for a homemade diaper cream with essential oils. That's a simple, natural, great for helping to soothe and soften the skin safely. You use coconut oil, and most of your benefits are going to come from adding just something simple like lavender and melaleuca. I've got actually a link to a diaper, homemade DIY diaper cream that came out from doTERRA. If you want that link, let me know, or just do a search for doTERRA DIY Diaper Cream, and you should end up right there. The lovely little cream that you can make yourself. Okay, so here, let's get down to the end here. Again, what is this one here? Oh, okay, so we've got the DIY baby powder. Again, these are ones that doTERRA has come up with themselves, but they are made to DIY, so do yourself. Save yourself a ton of money with these DIYs. Know what's in your products. Look up these recipes. Just look up DIY baby powder doTERRA, and you'll come up with that recipe. So before I go into, I'm going to go a little part that I did some training with Dr. Zielinski, and a lot of this is going to be kind of postpartum stuff, like the first year, maybe breastfeeding questions and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and maybe take about 10 minutes. So if you want to stick around for that, then great. But in the meantime, do you have any questions about the essential oils I've discussed so far?
Yeah, where could you find that arrowroot powder? Unless I guess you'd have to order it online. I've never seen it anywhere.
I've seen arrowroot powder at Sprouts, so it is available in some of your healthier based.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
Yeah, if you don't have that around, it's so nice. We live in a time and age where we can order those things online, because I also struggle sometimes being able to find something in the organic versions, the all natural version. But if I go to some of these places like Amazon or Thrive Market or something like that, you can find these things online. So yeah, look for that, because a lot of those things are used regularly. Like I had to order my Castile soap even. I had to order that online. I couldn't find it in any of my local stores.
Now I can get that. I get that Dr.
You can get that. I can buy that online.
I get that. Well, I get that at my store. They have it in big bottles.
Yeah. So, and that's what we did too. And I get my I get bigger bottles of like MCT organic coconut oil that I also buy online in really big bottles, because I do tend to use a lot of it, and the doTERRA stuff is awfully expensive. So, and it's not for internal use, which is probably another issue too.
I got aloe vera gel too that way in a big, great big. I think it's like a half a gallon. I think aloe vera gel. I love that stuff. Because I make stuff. I make stuff. And that was hard to
find for a while. Yeah. So I got a question on the phone here. Cypress for bedwetting is what you're using right now. It's not working. And he's almost 5. So you can try some other oils, and here's what I do, because I don't know off the top of my head what I would use there. I research things when I want, when the problem exists. So what you want to research is to put in the search bedwetting essential oils, and then look for another recipe. Or you can look at any of the essential oil books. And I don't know, Barbara, if you want to look it up in Droply and see if
that's just what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were doing. So we have an app that everybody on my team, this app that we use on our phone, and we can look things up very quickly. You'll see Barbara will have an answer for us in just a minute, because you look up a health issue and it will give us the answers and tell us what oils you try. So remember, one oil may not work for you. I mean, it's like people use lavender a lot for sleep. It does not work at all for me. I had to find other oils that work for me. So you just go through the list, and if one thing isn't working, you give it a couple weeks, and if it's not working after a couple weeks, it's probably not going to work for you at that time. So then switch to another choice. And I assume you're using the cypress as aromatically, because it is not an internal use oil. And for somebody that age, you might actually have to go to some internal use oils to solve that problem. So what did you come up with, Barbara?
It didn't have it in there. Droply didn't have bedwetting.
Really?
No.
I saw it there.
Nope. I looked alphabetically, and it's no. I thought for sure it would.
Yeah. So what I would do is, so there's where my next point of research is. I'm going to type in bedwetting essential oils. Okay. So let's see what some of the experts say. So some of these are just going to be other people. I don't usually go there. I go to some of your some of my trustworthy doctors and stuff, like Dr. Axe or Dr. Zielinski. They'll usually have some really great recommendations, because you got to remember, a lot of this stuff, Pinterest and stuff is full of recipes, but that doesn't mean they work. A lot of them are just made up. So you have to be very careful where you're getting your information from. So I look for some of the ones either that I recognize or come from some of the doctors out there. And remember, this is, these are all things that are researched, because that's what we do. We research things over time, and we find solutions, and we keep researching, because there's always more than one solution, obviously. So I I'm happy to do some research for you. I don't know who this is though on the iPhone, so you have to give me your information privately if you want to. If you want to send me over an email or a text, you can do that, and I'm happy to look that up for you and give you some more information.
I just found this. Oh,
okay,
hi,
go ahead.
I'm Sandra. I just found a recipe on Droply for 10 drops of cypress, 5 of frank, and 10 drops of grounding blend for bedwetting.
Oh, how come? Did you search under bedwetting? Because I do not have that.
Yeah, it came up. Bedwetting came up.
Oh my gosh, maybe mine's out of date or something.
Oh yeah, do you update yours? You should update it.
Oh.
It's an app. You have to update apps. There'll be new stuff all the time.
Where do you update that then?
Do you know how to update things on your phone?
Well, usually it does it automatically.
Really? Yeah, usually.
Oh, no, you have to do it manually. I have to update all my stuff manually.
Oh, okay.
Unless it prompts me.
You just have to go into your apps probably.
Right, okay.
And then you just update. Because a lot of mine don't update, like Facebook and stuff like that. They never update. I always have to do it manually.
Oh, no, mine do it themselves.
So again, that one included cypress, but I see that it has some other better supporting oils. So sometimes you need those supporting oils. And remember also, one of the things we know about essential oils is when we start combining oils, we get a synergistic effect. So sometimes, like let's say lavender oil is 20% effective and peppermint oil is 10% effective. You would think that combined they'd be 30% effective, but instead what happens is combined they become like 80% effective for certain conditions. You're going to see that with a lot of oils. So that's why you start adding some other things to it. Frankincense makes sense, and so does the grounding blend as an addition to cypress for something like that. So that does make sense. And that would be, if it has more of probably more of a physical basis to it rather than a psychological thing. So definitely look at maybe psychological issues. And just keep in mind, for some kids who just don't have that strength in that area, it's something that develops over time. It's totally normal. And children may even wet the bed until they're 7 or 8 years old. It's extremely common. You wouldn't believe how common it is actually. So we see it a lot. So don't get too nervous about it, and just deal with it and let them know that they're probably going to outgrow it. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit now into a little bit more advanced training. This is stuff I got from Dr. Z, and I'm just going to kind of flip through these pretty quickly for people who might be thinking about getting pregnant or have really, really young kids or are going to be having more young children in the future, right? So we do want to make sure that you're aware there are some times when essential oils aren't indicated, and you have to be very careful. Not that they're necessarily dangerous, but because they're in a lot of our foods that we're eating in very, very small amounts. But in the amounts that we use them in typically, like if we're using a drop or 2 drops or 3 drops, that's a very, very powerful amount of essential oil. It is not, because you have a plant, and it may be 70 times more powerful than the herb. So it is very powerful, and you have to be aware of that. So first trimester, there are some oils you should try to avoid internally for the most part. And then when you are using them externally, be aware during your first trimester of oils that you should maybe use less of, more highly diluted, or avoid altogether. And here's a list of some of those. Unless they are needed for another condition, you should probably avoid some of these. So can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Even people who are on phones? Okay, just want to make sure everybody can see the screen. So you can copy these things if you need. So there's your first trimester warning. And then of course, by second trimester, you can start adding in your oils again. And that's interesting because if you looked in the first trimester warning, one of those was ginger. However, I have read other research that says that ginger is really good for what? Morning sickness, right? So you have to keep that in mind when you're figuring out what is the balance, what is the ratio. It's not like these are poisonous to you. It's simply that they're ones that you want to avoid using as often during that time.
So I have a question.
Uh-huh.
The oils, like most oils say do not use when you're pregnant or breastfeeding. Is that, you kind of have to use your own discretion on that then?
Yeah, so what that means, so if you don't know what that means, that is required on everything, every single product, unless it was specifically tested with pregnant women. So let me see if I can see, anything, any vitamin that you take, all kinds of, so things that you ingest, They will always say that. That is a umbrella thing that is just required to prevent manufacturers from getting sued. It really means nothing.
Right. That's what I figured.
The only time it matters is if you are using a product and it doesn't say that and it is a supplement, then it might be that that was actually tested with pregnant women.
Oh,
That's
okay.
very rare. Most things aren't tested a whole lot with, to the degree they need to be to get that.
Of course.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
then we have
thank
some
you.
essential oils that maybe we should avoid during pregnancy. And so these are very, very strong oils. And most of these we're not familiar with. These are not oils that are common with doTERRA. So the only ones that you might have seen at doTERRA is, of course, birch. It's not one that they sell regularly, but we have earned it various times throughout the last few years. And I have birch here. I love their birch. It is so much better than wintergreen for back issues and stuff. So I absolutely adore it. But you do want to avoid it during pregnancy. It is super strong. I would almost, I don't know if it's on here. Yeah, wintergreen. Again, yeah, probably. Those are two very, very powerful oils and probably a good idea to avoid those during pregnancy. These other ones we don't see too much. Camphor is in, I think it's in one of the doTERRA products, but in a very small amounts, it's probably fine. Tansy, if it's similar enough to blue tansy, maybe you want to avoid that during your pregnancy. And some of these have specific reasons. I know some of these are a little bit more prone to help make you go into premature labor, and that's why you maybe want to avoid those. Of course, if you want to go into labor, that's a whole nother story. Then you want to start researching and saying, okay, what can I use that'll help me go into labor, right? If your date is, is scheduled or is passed. Another one, like this one, the cinnamon, right? And I wonder if this is the same cinnamon, because I use cinnamon every day. I absolutely love it in my tea in the morning. I never want to be without it. Of course, I'm done having kids, so not an issue for me. But if you are using an oil regularly, and it is one that is maybe something you shouldn't use during pregnancy, find out why. Why isn't that used during pregnancy? And is this the same one? Yeah, see, that's a different one. Our cinnamon is because the cinnamon bark is actually a different name. It's cinnamonicum, but then the second word is Zaytonicum. So different. And I noticed their second word is camphora. So I'm thinking it's the type of camphor, and that's why, just like camphor is not, and so that might come from the cinnamon leaf, which might be a problem. So if you're tempted to use any of these oils during pregnancy, you want to use them, make sure you do the research and figure out why it isn't recommended during pregnancy. Is it because it can possibly cause preterm labor? Is there a certain amount, a threshold that you don't want to pass? But I know off the top of my head, wintergreen and birch, I would just avoid them. There's other substitutes that you can use like peppermint, so just avoid those too. Keep it simple, that way you don't accidentally do something you don't want to do, right? Concerns during pregnancy and maybe even after. Sage is one you really want to, according to Mama Z, she says, really avoid sage during pregnancy. It can decrease your milk supply, even though this is during your pregnancy, which is long before you're going to be breastfeeding, right? But she feels that you should just avoid sage, even in recipes. And it's in things like Italian seasoning, so actual sage, not just the oil, but sage. So you want to make sure that you are paying attention to that. She had no problems with peppermint. I have heard the rumor that peppermint can cause problems with the milk supply when you're lactating. And I've never saw it myself either. And everybody I've talked to said had not had that experience. The only thing you can think of is if you're sloppy, if you get peppermint oil on your nipple, yeah, your baby's not going to want to suck on that. I mean, it's strong, right? So definitely want to be aware of that because obviously, essential oils are great for the other things that we experience during our pregnancy and shortly thereafter, like, the nausea, the soreness, the pain, insomnia, stress. And, we like using oils for things like that. You want to, get ready for your delivery by, making sure that you're going to have a good milk supply. And that is actually done prior to post-delivery. So during your pregnancy, you can start prepping your body, especially in that last trimester, to have a good milk supply. And then she did talk about some of these other things that this is through their women's series that they're doing right now. It's free. And I assume they're going to have a weekend where they'll do all of them again for free. I bought the series. So if you do want to see any part of it, let me know and I can go on a Zoom with you and I can play it for you, so that you can watch it again if you've missed it and you really want to see any part of it for free. Okay. Here's some of the milk boosting things. So this can be used at any stage, you know, so if you're still nursing a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old, and you're starting to see a decline in your milk supply, you can increase your milk supply with some of the oils. And you notice that clary sage is here because after pregnancy, then you can start using that sage and jasmine, some things here. And how to use it. So if you can see this, this is the milk boosting roll-on and where you should apply it. Now, anytime you apply any essential oil to your breasts, yeah, wait a couple hours because your baby probably isn't going to want to nurse for a couple hours after you put on those oils, so it's really absorbed into your body. So when do you apply them? As soon as they finished eating, right? As soon as your baby's finished eating, apply your oils to your breasts, and then when they're ready to eat a couple hours later, they should be good to go, right? So some simple stuff there. Postpartum, you know, we start with we've all been through this. I think anybody who's had babies knows this. We have that irregular menstrual cycle. You know, you have a lot of hormone fluctuation during this time. Balance, great blend during that time because you are having a lot of hormone fluctuations and you want to get that under control. Luckily, you know, most of the time symptoms are mild, but if, you know, if you do have some serious symptoms, then you want to take care of them, you know, address them with oils. It's probably the easiest thing to do. And also, you may be perimenopausal. So perimenopausal is before you've gone through menopause, and this is very highly related to postpartum because you get the same kind of hormone swings, and that causes some of these problems that you see here. And so you can have them even after giving birth, long before you're at that age where you're going to be obviously in menopause. There's a great sitz bath recipe here. So hopefully you can take screenshots of any of these that you want to see, or let me know if you need them. I'll have them. But sitz baths are great after birth. And here's a really good recipe. You should be able to find some of these ingredients, like evening primrose oil. I've always been able to find that online. Of course, most people in the natural industry are familiar with Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, which I mentioned earlier. I had to buy that online because I couldn't find it. But you can make your sitz bath for after birth, and that will give you a lot more comfort. That's what that's for. A perineum healing soap. So the perineum, you guys are familiar with the area that is if you've given birth probably, and you know that it goes through a lot of trauma during the childbirth time. So you want to help it heal. And here's another recipe for that. So we'll go a little bit further into a new milk body lotion that you can make as well. And that is something, a lot of people like to use this in the last trimester of pregnancy to prepare your body and to keep your body, supple and stuff after the birth. And you can see some of the things, I like some of these ingredients. These are definitely ingredients I would totally love to use. After labor milk supply roll-on. This is, so after you've done your labor delivery, this is a roll-on that you can use to help that with that supply of milk. And again, you can see there's some different ingredients in this, the basil and fennel. Mama Z really liked this one. She said that was really great. And just as and then the joyful body oil. But I do want to mention something they mentioned during their talk that I thought was very interesting. They were saying, so for those of you who are still in your childbearing years and you're going to have more children, one of the things that she highly recommended, and they had heard this from a nurse midwife who told them this was a very good way to get your body ready for delivery, was that you should be having unprotected sex with your spouse, hopefully, for a couple weeks before your due date, as much as you can, because that softens the perineum and gets you ready for delivery, for a nice, more comfortable delivery. And I know for a lot of people, it may seem kind of counterintuitive. A lot of times we're like at the end and we're very heavy. We don't feel very sexy because we're carrying around a giant ball inside of us, right? We've all been through this. But they do recommend that. So that's something to think about doing with your partner. And then they had some question and answers, so I'll tell you what their answers were. So this is a common one, nursling 2 years old. Some people are worried about supply, but some people aren't. They're getting good milk supply, and they're wondering, should they be careful of things since they're nursing, right? So it's the same thing throughout. Any time when you're pregnant, when you're nursing, you want to be careful of anything that you are exposed to because we know it gets into the milk, right? So we're careful of what we ingest. We're careful of the toxins that we're around. And then also we might be wondering, okay, is there a problem that they're still nursing 2 or 3 times a day? And so, you know, at that age, you want to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. So hopefully by then they're not waking you up at night. And if they are, use some essential oils to keep them asleep, because they don't need food all night long at that age, right? You need your sleep more than anything. So make sure you're getting your sleep. But if they're nursing 2 or 3 times during the day, and a very common thing is they wake up and they nurse, and maybe sometime during the day they might nurse once, and then definitely usually before bed at night they're nursing. And there's nothing wrong with it at any age, really, up to about the age of 8 or so. My son, my second son, nursed until he was about 8 years old. And at 8 years old, he just quit. And, you know, it wasn't like he was nursing all day and all night all the time. It was basically once, maybe twice a day. A lot of times it was just that nursing before bed, that closeness, that bond that we shared at that time. And that is totally normal. They will quit pretty much on their own somewhere between the ages of 8 and 9 if they do go that long, because somewhere in that realm, psychologically, they become beings that are very aware of the world around them. They change. They're no longer a baby. We've all seen this. Somewhere around that age, they go from being your little baby to being more of a mature individual. So we've never seen kids nursing past that age, simply because they become more aware of the world around them and they change, and they are now no longer a baby. So here are some of the things. Here, the only thing I wanted to let you know was to give you the recipe. I think I have a recipe here for natural nipple balm if you need it. So if you have been nursing a baby and you're having some issues, there's a balm that you can use. And then some of the things they recommend you when you are in labor is go ahead and diffuse something like, you can diffuse wild orange. It has to be something you enjoy, and you do want it something that's going to help calm you. So if the calming oils are not something you like the smell of, try adding a fruit oil to, you know, to cover up that smell, because fruit oils most people tend to like. And wild orange would be the one that helps you be calm and focused. Mix that with something like lavender, or even frankincense, or even copaiba for that matter, to help you keep calm and focused. We believe that essential oils can be a huge help during that whole labor and delivery process. And if anybody here has been in labor, wait, who's been in labor? Like just about all of us, right?
Yeah.
Anything you can get that'll help you, you know, mentally, physically, whatever, right? We want it, because it's not an easy process. You know, we're taking a huge being that we made and we're pushing it out a little small hole. So it's not terribly comfortable. Nobody really enjoys it. And we do want to make it as easy as possible. And there are a lot of tools in the essential oil market that you can use. So here is the nipple cream. If anybody wanted that recipe, if you're going to have children in the future, you might want to kind of just take a screenshot of this. This is something that Mama Z came up with. And you got to remember, this is a woman who has had 5 kids she has? She's pregnant now.
I think she has 4 and then 1 on the way.
One on the way, yeah. So, and she has, you know, used all these things. They're very, very into essential oils, and her husband is a doctor. And so that's, you know, these have been well researched and actually tried and, you know, tested by her. These are things she recommends, which is where I got this from. Now for transition, when you are trying to wean a child, there is a point in time where you may need to wean a child, because let's say you're going back to work, and you want to make it as easy a process as possible. So when you do that, keep in mind the best way to wean a child is to let them wean on their own terms, and they will do it naturally. And they will do it sometimes just if you keep them busy with other things. Like I said, with my son, it was just morning and night, or if he got injured, that's when he wanted nurse. So it was just to calm him down, which is great. And that wasn't a big deal. So even if you go to work, you can still come home, nurse your baby to sleep, right? So that's something you can have to wean them off of. But if you do find that you need to wean them off for any reason, you want to make it a super easy transition. Usually if you're trying to do that and you're trying to force it, it's because they're a little bit older, which means you can have actual communication and you can offer them choices. So if they're at a communications age, you can say, well, would you rather have, you know, my milk, or would you rather have, and you offer them something else that they enjoy. And then they can make that decision, and they'll probably go back and forth. It depends if they're getting their time with you, because sometimes a nursling is nursing because they are missing their special time with mom. They want that bond. And that's an important one that we have. So making transitions is gonna, you know, we don't know if there's any essential oil that will help with making that transition, just something calming and soothing. It's more of a style of living and what you can offer them to make them maybe want to be weaned. And it'll be a process. Much like everything is just, it can be a very long process sometimes, where they might not nurse for 3 days, and then all of a sudden they come up to you and they want to nurse. It happens. And then here's the one we probably all wondering: if you do end up with saggy breasts after your children have weaned. Okay, so Amazi said this, and I'm going to say the same thing too. I did not notice any difference after my children had been breastfeeding for, oh my gosh, so many years, right? Because I had 4 kids that all breastfed, and like I said, one of them until he was 8. So that was a lot of breastfeeding in my lifetime. And I did not experience any saggy breasts. Saggy breasts are usually caused by bras that are too supportive, so your muscles aren't doing their job because the bra's doing it for it. So you're wearing your bras at night and stuff like that. Or muscle tone. So building good muscle tone and doing some exercises in the pecs will help you with your breasts. And then part of it is just going to be the natural effect of aging and your skin stretching out, because that's what happens. And what do we do when our skin starts to stretch out, Barbara? What oil do we use?
Yeah, I don't know. I use the essential skincare on my face.
Yep. And that stuff works really great. And copaiba oil, really good for tightening the skin. So if you're noticing that your body doesn't look quite the same, and you want it to look differently, keep in mind, first of all, you're older, because you've gone through breastfeeding your baby. Now you're a few years older, right? But you can use some oils to help tighten the skin. Copaiba is one of the ones we know works really well. Frankincense is a good one for tightening the skin. And those are completely safe to put on any skin tissue externally on your body. So, all different areas, wherever you notice any sagging, or, sagging is caused by stretching, and it's caused by lack of muscle tone. Even the sagging in our face, this is a lack of muscle tone. If you see people that have more expression, people with more expression actually develop good muscles underneath their skin, and they have less sagging as they age because they do have good expression. It's weird because we always think that if we keep making a face that, Mom always said this to us, don't do that. Don't make that face. It'll freeze there, right? We've all been through there. That's for
the crossing the eye thing.
Yeah, that too. I know. Yeah, it'll get stuck there and you'll never be able to fix it. Yeah. So just keeping in mind that you just want to use good products on your face. You don't want to put toxic ingredients on your face as much as you can avoid them. And then take care of your skin, because it's your skin, right? This is the external part of our bodies. And we have tools to tighten them. We have tools to help build muscle underneath. You don't realize how many muscles you even have just in your face, in those areas where we start to sag as we get older. Work those muscles. Don't be afraid to work those muscles. They're muscle like anything else in your body. We've got muscles all over the place. We have muscles that will help keep our breasts up. And those are those pec muscles. And as women, unfortunately, we don't develop those muscles as good as men do. It's harder for us. But you will have to, if you want to look good, then you have to do those exercises to look good. So hopefully this has been helpful. I'm going to do some future, I want to do some future events. Next Thursday, I'm going to do the perimenopausal and postmenopausal summit, kind of talk about those, and I'm using essential oils and other natural products with that. And then next Saturday, I want to do one on weight loss. I think I'm going to readdress weight loss with some newer information we have to help people who are just trying to, struggling to lose a few pounds, or if you're struggling to lose a lot of weight. It doesn't matter. Oils are unbelievably helpful, as well as some other small changes in your lifestyle. So any questions about this today?
That was a great presentation.
Well,
even though I'm old, I can give some tips to my daughter.
Yeah, Barbara, do you have grandchildren yet? You have one.
I have one.
Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only one?
Boy. He's going to be 2 in August.
And he's the only one, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Only grandchild, yeah. So you've got one. I don't have any yet. It'll be a while, I guess, quite some time. And
well,
then
my daughter was married 7 years till she has 6 years till she had one. So.
Oh wow, boy,
yeah.
I've got a long wait then. Nobody's even married. It's gonna be a long time. Okay, and then some people on our team and not on our team, in doTERRA, and some of them are still in their childbearing ages, having kids at whatever age they might be having them at. But recognize that there are tons and tons of resources on how to do these things more naturally, how to use essential oils to solve problems. Sometimes we just live with the problems. I remember some of the things I experienced when my kids were little was cradle cap was a big one. We had cradle cap first. He also had kind of a reflux of some sort, or a colicky thing, and I wish I'd known more about oils back then to use with him. And
colic.
Yeah, colic is common.
Earache.
Oh yeah, ears definitely.
Uh,
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about ears. I can talk about ears with little ones really quickly. I'll tell you, one of the best things you can do for ear aches and even ear infections to help is use something like lavender and tea tree and just get it. You don't want to put things, technically you don't really want to put things into the ear for an ear wash, especially with really young children, because you can damage their inner ear, and we don't want to do that, right? So take those oils, make a little blend and dilute them, of course, and put them just around this area of the ear, just inside the ear, not in the canal. Just rub them around there. The oils will get to where they need to go to help with any discomfort that babies might be having with their ears.
Now,
So
for me, I had an ear infection. I put the tea tree back in here.
back behind your ear right there on that
Yeah.
limb, probably
Mhm.
right there. Yeah. And that really helps a lot. Essential oils are super effective for ear issues.
It really works well.
Well, I think it's mostly because most ear problems that we have are viral. They're not actually
Mhm.
bacterial. And so it makes it very easy for us to treat those very quickly. And so we have a lot of resources to do it. And in fact, with my dog, they have me putting a blend in his ear. They had me do apple cider vinegar, mix 50-50 with water. And then I added a drop of lavender essential oil, just one drop for a whole cup. So it's a very, 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 weak solution. But they're having me wash his ear out with that because he's got some buildup in his ear. So there are different things that you'll learn about as you're using the oils. But as a general rule, we don't put essential oils inside the ear, inside the nose, inside the eyes, and inside a couple other areas either. So, we don't want to put them inside things because they can do their work from the outside. So we don't need to, because they will reach those cells. So a lot of times you don't want to put them directly on the injury. You can't.
Ooh.
And with the exception with like most essential oils, you wouldn't put directly on a cut on a baby, but you could with lavender oil. Like lavender oil, you could put directly on a cut. In fact, you could put lavender oil, like if you had a C-section, you could put lavender oil directly on the scar itself while it was still healing. Lavender oil is one of the exceptions to that. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here, and who's still with us? Oh, Sandra's still here, and the iPhone. Who's on the iPhone?
I don't know.
We don't know who's on the iPhone.
No.
Okay. So Barbara, you said somebody was going to come. So I'm going to take.
Probably didn't. I don't think she did.
Okay, I'm going to take the first part of this before I got into Dr. Z's stuff. That stuff will be available by video. I'm going to cut it because the second part is not compliant with doTERRA's rules. So I can't post that publicly because that wasn't compliant. It's medical information that we're not allowed to say with essential oils in the public arena. So, and then the rest of it I will post on YouTube if you want to watch it again. If you have any other questions in the meantime, let me know. If you want to attend any of our future events, I try to keep these, this one was what? How long was this? Just over an hour.
A little over an hour.
That I added. Yeah, I try to keep them under an hour. This one I added a little part from Dr. Z that I just learned from his summit. How many people are going to the Dr. Z summit? Are you attending that? It's free this week. It's the women's series. Tomorrow might be the last day that he's doing the free one, and then hopefully he'll do a replay weekend that'll also be free, so you can pick and choose some of the things. But like I said, I bought the course, so if you saw a certain part of it that interested you and you missed it, just let me know, and I'll get on Zoom with you, and I'll just play it for you. You can watch it, on your own time. I don't even have to be there. I can just set it up on my computer and let it play for you, so you can watch it. Okay.
I started it.
You what?
I did start listening to some of them, yeah.
You did, yeah. Very interesting, isn't it?
Very informative, yeah.
He does some really good, the two of them do some really great work. I'm really pleased with that. He also has his masterclass that teaches you more about using essential oils. This is more focused on women's issues, all kinds of.
I did that 2 years ago, the masterclass. That was wonderful.
That was more on just essential oils. This is so much more all-encompassing. He's really grown a lot with that. And he's doing the women's series now, and I hope he picks up some other series as well.
So you said you were going to put this one that we just did now, you were going to put it on YouTube?
Yes, I am. The first part, I can't put the very end. After I went into Dr. Z stuff, that won't be there. But yeah, the first part will all be on YouTube.
So I could pass that on to some of my friends that are interested.
And yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I'm trying to make these so that they are something that you can pass along to people who are interested in learning more about the oils. Because why do you need to reinvent it and do it yourself? It's this, we don't need to all do the same thing over and over and over. So it's nice when
That's
somebody
nice.
else did the work and you can just piggyback on that and say, hey, you know what? My leader did this, or my mentor, whatever you want to call me, did this really great video and some good information, and pass that along to them, those links, so that they can benefit
Yeah.
from this.
Thank you very
Sandra,
much.
I have a question for Sandra real quick. You have the Droply app. Now, did you get it from Ginny or did you buy it?
I got it from Ginny.
Okay, I bought mine and I looked on it while we were doing this, and
Wait,
there's
you bought
no
yours?
way.
Why'd you buy yours, Barbara?
Bonnie told me to like a year or two ago.
But I gave him
Bonnie
free.
thought it was valuable that I could that way I could pass it on to my own people.
Oh yeah,
I bought
if
it.
you do that, right.
I
It should
do
be
that a
the
lot.
same, Barbara. It shouldn't be any different.
I still
There's
pass
no
mine
place
on.
There's no place on here where it says you can update it. And I went into the Play Store and it had a Droply 2, which was something different than this. And I didn't download that. That was different.
Okay, what phone are you on?
I have a Samsung Galaxy.
Okay, so you don't have a true app store, right?
Yeah, it's called the Play Store, but I did go in and I did a search on Droply. Oops.
Don't want to search. Okay, so like on mine, and I'm on an iPhone, but when I have to update things, I'm trying to remember where I go. Sandra, maybe you know better than I do. How do we update our things?
I was just going into my app info, like if you go into your settings and then find your apps.
Okay.
Software. No. So then I was under
settings, right?
apps.
Under settings. Yeah, Barbara, she's right. It's under settings, and you can see the names. Like I can see the names of all my stuff. There's Droply.
Yeah, all it says is uninstall or force stop, though. I don't see.
There's
No
nothing
update.
there for updating, but when you said about that bedwetting and it was in yours and it wasn't in mine, that kind of irked. I mean, I'm glad it's in yours, but it irked me that it wasn't in mine because I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's
not, Barbara.
Really weird.
So you went into
settings.
Did you go to all uses ailments?
Yes.
It's not on mine either. Let me see. I wonder if she went into, did you go into babies and children? No?
No, I just like it opened up and the search bar is on the top and I just pushed in bedwetting and it came up.
Oh, let me try that. Bedwetting.
There it is. Okay, that's okay, but it just has recipes. It didn't have it in the the table of contents or the list.
Oh, okay.
It's there then. Yeah.
You know what? I have direct contact with the people over at Droply. I'm going to let them know that some of them are not showing up there, and you have to search for them.
Huh.
Yeah, it must just be an error.
Yeah.
But that's something good to know. So if you really want to look it up, just search for it. Sounds like a better way.
Yeah, there you go. Because there it says 10 drops cypress, 5 frankincense, 10 grounding blend. Mix in a roller and fill with FCO. So that makes sense to me.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, I'm glad you found that.
Oh, so am I. Thank you for your help, though. I would have not thought to do that. Duh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I would have thought it would have been there too, and I have actually looked for some things that I didn't see there, and now I'll just do a search for them because maybe they're there and they're just kind of hiding. But I'll let Brad know that they're not, that something's off on that, and have them.
You know, Ginny, that I think I emailed you earlier this week. I said I couldn't see what that particular customer ordered. I still can't. Now I have another one. I can't see what they ordered.
And you did by going back into it. Like if you look at a customer order and you go back out,
nothing shows up. Nothing showed up. And getting a hold of DOTERRA, oh my gosh, I was on the phone like 40 minutes and I finally hung up. I said, I got stuff to do. I can't be on the phone waiting.
Is this a Canadian account or US account?
Both are US.
Okay, so there you want to email, it'll go to faster response, service@doterra.com.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
Canada, you would email canada@doterra.com.
Okay.
Those will be faster. Yeah, don't try to get on the phone with them with the COVID and everybody's working from home.
I know.
It's these systems are really slow, so don't try calling them. I keep telling people, just email them.
Email service@doterra.com.
Yep.
All lowercase.
Yeah, and Sandra, if you're in Canada, always email canada@doterra.com because I found out if you email service@doterra.com, all they do is if it's in Canada, they forward it to Canada@doterra.com. So,
Right.
so bypass that. Go
Yeah,
direct.
I've done that, I think.
Yeah, but
Thank
that's
you.
a better way to ask them why you can't access it and ask them to give you the information. We are supposed to have the information. That's how we follow up with our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like there might be some kind of glitch in the system if it's not giving that to you. Now, it won't give it to you on the day they order and possibly even the next day. It takes a couple of days for the system to update. So if you're trying
But
to
I gave it all week. I just tried. She ordered last Sunday, and I tried it again yesterday, and
okay, so
nothing.
then that,
They're always doing something with their website. I find that out. I had trouble with my customer a couple weeks ago. Ginny, you helped that nice
Yeah.
lady over in Jersey with that. My customer, and she's
well, they're
she's a good
updating
customer.
the systems because remember they added Canada to the system and now they're updating the system and they're updating Canada and US at the same time. I know that they had the chats working for both of them and we could just go to chat and you go to either one. And then Canada broke somehow, and now there is no chat. Like yesterday, I tried to chat to Canada, and they said chat's broken. And I was like, oh, okay, now what do I do? But chat's the same way as the phone calls. If you get on the online chat, you're probably going to wait about 15 minutes to get connected. It is easier on online chat. Unless I absolutely have to, I do not call them. You should always go to the online chat feature, that live chat feature. It's always faster. And you get better communications there, and then you can do other stuff while you're waiting for
And
them.
they're wonderful. I've done that, in the past with the chat. They're so good. They're very helpful.
And Sandra, you may not realize this yet, but if you, as a member, if you ever have a problem and you ask for free points because you were inconvenienced, they will give them to you.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to
Oh,
ask
really?
for the offer. Oh yeah. I mean, I've gone in there and even said, this is really a pain. I just spent an hour on chat with you just to straighten this out. And they'll say, oh, well, how about I give you 20 free credits for your trouble?
I see. Wow,
And if
that's
you don't
really
offer,
very
don't be
helpful.
afraid to ask.
I still am not receiving my because like I just signed up with you 2-3 months ago.
Yep.
And I'm still not receiving my my payment through direct debit or direct deposit.
When did you send in your direct deposit forms?
Well, about a month. Oh, it was probably April sometime.
April sometime. Okay, so the one that should be done by now would be the check you just got on May 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them. I can tell how much I got. I can see it in my office, but I've never received any money yet.
You haven't received anything, and you didn't receive any credits that you could apply to your orders either, right?
No, and I haven't got that either.
Right. Okay. So that was what I was reaching out to my account manager. So Monday is a holiday in the States, which is where the account managers are. So I'm going to let me send them a reminder.
Yeah, you can message me privately on that too. I'm totally good with that.
Yeah, I will, because you do need to get your money. I didn't know you didn't get it the month before, but I thought that was just because you were brand new, and so maybe they switched it over late. But if it shows up in your convention, then that's your money.
I thought so too. So I was just kind of hanging in there and waiting, but I'm like,
no, let's not wait. No, let's just get this done because there's obviously a problem.
Okay.
She is not getting her commission.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Sandra.
What is your ID number?
My ID number? Oh, I better find it here. I almost know it.
I might have it. They like it whenever I communicate with them, they always, they'll ask me, what is your ID number? Oh yeah,
sure.
I don't have it. Yeah, so just so that you guys know, I mean, if you are on my team and you ever need help, I have an account manager and I can reach out to them directly for any of these issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
that's the easiest way kind of to go through you.
Yeah. And they'll let me know if you need to call in directly, but normally they can handle it because usually it's just a glitch in the system. They're having all kinds of problems. Do you have your ID number?
I'm just trying to find it here. Okay. I should know it off by heart, but I'm.
And then Barbara, I'll
quite
check on why
confident
we're
about it
not able to see orders. I'm gonna also check on my account and see if I'm able to see all my customers' orders, because so far everybody I've checked, I have been able to. So is it just one person or is it multiple people you can't see the orders of?
It's multiple people, Jenny.
Okay, then there's got to be a problem.
Well, in fact, I called the one because she's a good customer. I actually emailed her or I texted her, whatever. And I said, I'm having a little trouble with doTERRA. I think they're working on their website.